In this episode, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of company culture. How do you measure something as intangible as culture? It's like trying to weigh a cloud, right?
Exactly, Sophia. It can seem incredibly nebulous, but company culture has a huge impact on everything from employee satisfaction and retention to overall productivity and even a company's bottom line. So, understanding how to measure it is crucial. We're going to explore 7 key methods that can help us get a handle on this slippery concept.
And we're going to break it down so it's super easy to understand, even if you're new to the whole idea of company culture. Method number 1, employee surveys. This is a classic for a reason.
Absolutely. Surveys give you direct insight into what your employees are thinking and feeling. They're a great way to gauge employee morale, identify areas for improvement, and track progress over time. It's important to make these surveys anonymous, though, to encourage honest feedback.
I totally agree. Anonymity is key, and asking open-ended questions can give you richer, more nuanced data than just multiple-choice questions. Think, what could we do to improve our company culture, rather than just, are you satisfied with the company culture?
Exactly. You want to dig deep and get beyond the surface-level responses. Method number 2, employee interviews. This takes the survey approach a step further by allowing for more in-depth conversations.
Yes, interviews provide a richer understanding of employee perspectives. They allow you to explore the why behind the what revealed in surveys. You can ask follow-up questions, delve into specific incidents, and really get a feel for the lived experience of your employees.
And remember, active listening is crucial here. You want to create a safe and comfortable environment where employees feel heard and understood.
Absolutely. Method number 3, focus groups. This is like a group interview, bringing together a small group of employees to discuss specific topics related to company culture.
Focus groups can be really valuable for generating new ideas and exploring different perspectives. They also offer a chance for employees to interact with each other and share their experiences.
Right? And it's important to have a skilled facilitator to guide the conversation and ensure everyone has a chance to contribute. Method number 4, observation. This is all about paying attention to the day-to-day interactions and behaviors within the workplace.
It's like being a cultural anthropologist within your own company. Observe how people communicate, how decisions are made, and how conflicts are resolved. These observations can reveal a lot about the underlying cultural norms and values.
Precisely. Are people collaborative or competitive? Is there a sense of trust and respect? These are the kinds of things you can pick up through observation. Method number 5, exit interviews. While it might seem late in the game, these interviews with departing employees can offer valuable insights.
Yes, exit interviews can provide candid feedback about what went well and what could be improved. Employees who are leaving are often more willing to share their honest opinions, especially if they feel their feedback will be taken seriously.
Definitely. And while you can't change things for that specific employee, you can use their feedback to create a better experience for current and future team members. Method number 6, social media monitoring. Keep an eye on what employees are saying about your company online, both positive and negative.
This can give you a real-time pulse on employee sentiment. It's also a great way to identify potential issues early on. Just remember, social media isn't always a completely accurate reflection of reality.
True. Context is everything. Method number 7, review company performance data. Look for patterns in things like absenteeism, turnover rates, and productivity levels. These metrics can be indicators of underlying cultural issues.
Exactly. If you see high turnover in a particular department, for instance, it might be a sign of a deeper cultural problem within that team.
So there you have it, 7 methods for measuring company culture. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a lot of work, but trust me, it's worth it. A strong, positive company culture is a huge asset.
It's like the secret sauce that makes everything run smoothly. And you know what they say, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Speaking of breakfast, I'm suddenly craving waffles. Anyone else?
Ha! Always with the waffles, Lily. But you're right, culture is paramount. Let's delve deeper into each of these methods, exploring the nuances and practical applications. Starting with employee surveys, What are some best practices for designing effective survey questions?
Well, first, you want to be clear and concise. Avoid jargon and technical terms. Keep the language simple and accessible to everyone, and keep the survey short and focused. No one wants to spend an hour filling out a survey.
Definitely. And mix up the question types. Use a combination of multiple choice, rating scales, and open-ended questions to get a well-rounded perspective. For example, you could ask, on a scale of 1 to 5, how satisfied are you with the level of communication within the company? Followed by, what could we do to improve communication?
Exactly. And make sure you analyze the data thoroughly and share the results with your employees. It's important to show them that their feedback is being taken seriously.
Absolutely. Transparency is key. Now let's move on to employee interviews. What are some tips for conducting effective interviews?
First, create a safe and comfortable environment for the interviewee. Choose a quiet, private location where they can speak freely without interruption. Start with some general questions to build rapport, and then gradually delve into more specific topics related to company culture.
And listen actively. Pay attention to both their verbal and nonverbal cues. Ask follow-up questions to clarify their responses and gain a deeper understanding of their perspective.
And remember to take notes. You want to capture the key takeaways from each interview. Moving on to focus groups, what are some best practices for facilitating effective focus groups?
A. Choose a diverse group of participants that represent different departments, levels of seniority, and backgrounds. This will ensure you get a broad range of perspectives. Clearly define the purpose of the focus group and the topics you'll be discussing.
And set some ground rules to ensure a respectful and productive discussion. Encourage everyone to participate, but also manage dominant personalities to ensure everyone has a chance to speak. And just like with interviews, take detailed notes.
And now let's talk about observation. What are some tips for effective observation?
Be unobtrusive. You don't want your presence to influence employee behavior. Observe both formal and informal interactions. Pay attention to body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions. And take notes on your observations as soon as possible, while they're still fresh in your mind.
A great advice. Let's move on to exit interviews. How can we make the most of these final conversations?
Assure the departing employee that their feedback will be kept confidential and used to improve the company culture. Ask open-ended questions that encourage them to share their honest opinions, and avoid getting defensive. Even if you disagree with their feedback, listen respectfully and thank them for their candor.
Excellent points. Now, let's discuss social media monitoring. What are some best practices for monitoring social media effectively?
Use social listening tools to track mentions of your company and relevant keywords. Pay attention to both positive and negative comments. Respond to comments and questions promptly and professionally, and use the insights you gather to identify areas for improvement.
And finally, let's talk about reviewing company performance data. What are some key metrics to look at?
Track absenteeism rates, turnover rates, and productivity levels. Look for patterns and trends, and analyze the data in conjunction with qualitative data from surveys, interviews, and focus groups to get a complete picture.
So there you have it, a deep dive into 7 methods for measuring company culture. It's a complex topic, but by using these methods, you can gain valuable insights into your company's culture and identify areas for improvement.
And remember, building a strong company culture is an ongoing process. It requires continuous effort and attention, but the payoff is worth it. A positive company culture can lead to increased employee engagement, higher productivity, and a stronger bottom line.
Absolutely. Now I'm suddenly craving a team-building exercise, perhaps a waffle eating contest?
Ha! You and your waffles, Sophia. But hey, a little friendly competition never hurt anyone, right? And if we frame it as a cultural immersion experience, who could argue? Just kidding, mostly.
On that note, let's wrap up this episode. We hope you found this discussion helpful. Remember, a strong company culture is essential for success in today's competitive business environment.